Definitely.
Super easy to learn CPR. We're going to save some lives right now. 3 simple steps. We're
going to save some mannequins. So first of all, the step 1 is always call 911, right? So after you've made sure the scene is safe and check to make sure your victim is unresponsive, not just napping, you tell somebody else to go call 911, right? You want to stay with them. If you're alone, though, if it's an adult, you go call. If it's a baby, an infant under 1 year old, you stay with them, and if you know what to do, you take care of them for 2 minutes first, and then go call 911. And that story we just heard, 2 minutes of care actually did some good, right? Yeah. So stay and do it for 2 minutes.
And does it matter where the victim is lying?
It definitely does. Make sure they're not on a soft surface. So if it's an adult and they're in a bed, move them onto the floor. An infant you can put on a table or a counter, the floor, whatever. It just needs to be firm so that there's some resistance so that the compressions are effective.
So step 1 is you actually point to somebody and say, hey, you'll get called 911. Step 2 is pump 30 times. Before you breathe, you're going to pump.
Right. So for adults, you're going to take one hand, place it right in the center of the chest, in the center of the armpit line. Take your other hand, put it on top, place your fingers together. Or this is perfect. Move your shoulders so that they're over your hands, right? You want to press straight down, not at an angle. Okay. Adults, at least 2 inches deep. So press down hard and fast. You want to hear that click. There you go. I mean, real people don't click, but at least 2 inches deep. It's hard and fast.
Well, sometimes real people do click.
Maybe they do. It actually does not matter. You might hear some popping, crackling. It's usually when you crack your knuckles, you hear that popping of cartilage. That might happen when you're doing CPR. Don't be scared. It's totally normal. If something else cracks or breaks or shifts, that can be fixed later at the hospital. We got to get them there first, right?
And how fast do we go?
We're going to go pretty darn fast, actually. Think of the song for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Sing it while you're doing compressions. I'll show you what it looks like.
Put the song on, guys. Let me hear it.
All right, so let's hear. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Again, if you don't like the song, you need Staying Alive. But you probably don't want to hum, another one bites the dust, right? Like that.
Yeah, that one's not good. Not out loud. All right, so you do it 30 times. For an infant, you might have noticed I use 2 fingers instead of 2 hands, right? They're so tiny. And for an infant, you only go about 1.5 inches deep, whereas an adult is at least 2 inches deep.
Step 3, you've got to eventually breathe. Can I say something, everybody? People get grossed out by the idea of breathing in someone's mouth. 90% of people who drop dead like this do it at home. So odds are the person you're going to be helping is someone that you were related to and love dearly, and maybe even be kissing all the time because they're your spouse. So this is not a difficult thing to do when it's someone you love. I think it's doable no matter what, but especially that setting. Okay, you want to give 2 breaths.
2 breaths. So after 30 compressions, 2 breaths. So for adults, you're going to put one hand on the forehead to tilt the head back, 2 fingers under the chin to lift the chin up. The hand on the forehead, you got to pinch the nose all the way shut, put your mouth over theirs, and blow. You should see that chest move up and down. There you go. Gorgeous.
That's very good.
Just 2 times. There you go. Wow. Really good hair. For an infant, there's one adjustment. I'm gonna cover the nose and mouth with a breath because their noses are so tiny. You don't want to pinch it, right?
That's right. And again, remember, 90% of the time, cardiac arrests take place at home. So you're saving a loved one with this.
Right. So you continue those cycles. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. When do you think you stop?
When they start breathing?
Or?
When help comes.
When
we see the whites of the eyes of EMS, that's when you stop.
That's when you stop, right? So a lot of lives are saved because people continue this skill. I don't want you to stop just because you're like, oh my God, why aren't they waking up? They might not. Let the paramedics get there. You're giving them time to get to the hospital where they can fix what's wrong.
So for a recap on what you've learned today, you can download a free Dr. Oz American Red Cross SOS app. This thing is wonderful. We made it together. There's actually, within that, a very simple tool that takes you through how to do this when you're actually doing it. You turn the phone on. It has a little animations to show you how to do it. It's not intimidating. And it'll walk you through it if you're panicked so you won't forget some of these tips. There's also a Red Cross CPR page on DrOz.com with more tips for emergency preparedness. Good luck with the baby.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Coming up,
good luck.
What does your nose know? More than you might think. Find out what the shape of your